Welcome to Beautiful Chaos. Hey, you're in for the ride of your life because this is what the Beautiful Chaos is all about. It's feeling like you're on a roller coaster with no control over your day. And by the time you get down to the end of your week, you are exhausted, you're overwhelmed, you feel like you have nothing left to give. Have any of you felt that way? Have any of you got to the end of your week, or maybe you didn't even make it to the end of your week, and you have felt like all I need to do is veg out in front of the TV and snuggle up with my favorite blanket and just have people leave me alone? Or I have a friend of mine that actually feels like she just needs to go hide out in her bedroom and avoid everyone. Okay, the friend's me. I do that occasionally, okay? But it's on those days when I'm burning like 110 of my energy instead of doing a nice 80-20. If I were to do 80-20, my life would be easier. So I'm going to talk about how you can provide yourself with 20% out of your day or 5% out of your day.
It's a beautiful chaos, this roller coaster ride. The ups, the downs are spinning all around inside. It's a beautiful chaos. Sometimes I love, sometimes I hate. Have to pause, renegotiate, but with gratitude I appreciate this beautiful chaos.
Welcome to the Beautiful Chaos. Today, again, I'm sad to say, it's just me. I caught a flu bug, and so Stacy and I were supposed to record this episode together, and we decided not to because I didn't want to infect her. So I'm going to wing it on my own. There won't be that fun little banter, but we'll make it fun anyways. So the title of this episode is Refilling the Cup. Why self-care is non-negotiable. So a lot of us feel like we're being selfish when we even think about trying to provide ourselves with self-care. But it's really maintenance for your soul. And if you think about being on an airplane and the stewardess gives you the analogy, or not the analogy, she gives you the instructions on if you lose altitude in the airplane, that if the oxygen masks come down, then you are to apply your own oxygen mask first and then apply your child. And the reason for that, applying your child's mask second, is because you need to be fully oxygenated. You need to be fully aware of what's going on, and you need to be able to be capable to take care of that child. And you can't do that if you don't have enough oxygen. So it's the same thing with self-care. If we are not filling our cup or refilling our cup, we will have less to give to our kids, our spouses, our elderly parents, whoever needs us. And I understand, like kids, work, chores, all of it is a lot. And sometimes it's really hard to negotiate with ourselves to have some self-care. And I'm not talking about massages and such. I'm talking about every day something we can do to breathe, move, and reset. So there's a quote, and I don't know who it's from, so unknown author says, "You can't pour from an empty cup." And isn't that just true? So the best things that we can do for ourselves are actually daily acts that refill your emotional and physical tank. So it doesn't have to be expensive. It doesn't have to take a lot of time. You know, it's not just spa days. It's micro moments of peace and presence. And I'll tell you, any time that you're present in the moment, like presently I have something in my eye. Those of you that are listening can't see, but it's really bothering me. Anyways, I think I got it. So it's when you're present in the moment, that is when you feel the most peace and calm in your life. And there's just this calm. I don't have to be anywhere. There's an abundance of time kind of thinking whenever you're being present in the moment. And I know that it's hard because, you've got kids that you got to think about. First thing in the morning, you're thinking about, you got to get them dressed and on the bus and make sure they got all their bags packed and their lunches packed and all their things for after school activities. And then you're planning your own day. And then you have to plan picking them up and taking them to whatever activities. And there's always something that is like, oh, I have to do this. I have to do this. So the first thing is to just take moments throughout your day, wherever you can, and just be present in the moment. Maybe it's sitting in the car waiting for a child to get out of an event. And instead of scrolling on your book and getting on Facebook or listening to a podcast even, any of the things, just sit quietly with your eyes closed and breathe. Or do what I've started doing. I've started staring at the clouds because as a child, I can remember laying under the trees and looking up under at the clouds when it was a hot summer day and picking out shapes and different things, using my creativeness, right, to create things in the clouds. And that's a way of being present. Like, children are really good about being present in the moment. They're so good at it that when you try to drag them out of their present moment, that's when they get upset. So that's where great warnings are good to know. Like, you've got a 5-minute warning. Anyways, that's another episode. So self-care is all about being aware that you need it, or that whether you even need it or not, it just becomes part of your lifestyle, right? Like, I was told once I needed to meditate in the morning, mid-afternoon, and at night before I went to bed. And when I do those things, I do notice that I feel much better. I am more present. So you got to have some awareness about being present and find ways to make it work in your life. You've got to take the action to be present. And one of the easiest ways to do that is exercise. Now, who'd have thought that taking care of ourselves and a form of self-care would be exercise? And it's really anything that moves your body, that makes you feel good. And maybe when you first start out doing whatever it is, you might not feel fabulous. You might feel like, oh, I don't have time for this, because you're not being present in the moment. Oh, I just woke up. But like, whatever story you tell yourself, if you're telling yourself a story, that's your first sign that you're not being present in the moment. So try to refocus yourself and get yourself to be present in the moment. If you're walking, which walking outdoors is fabulous. You've got sunshine beating down on you. You're in nature. It's a fabulous thing. Walking is just fills my heart with joy. Now, in Idaho, we can't walk all the time. I mean, well, you can. You just got to bundle up. But anymore, the older I get, the less I can handle cold. So I do a walking program in my house, and that's also makes me just happy. It's fun. It's uplifting. It's more like dancing and visiting with a friend all at the same time. It's called Get Fit with Rick, and it's on YouTube. So a lot of these things that I'm going to talk to you about, you can access via YouTube. So, free, which is fabulous. Yoga is another great way to kind of join your mind and your body. So that's a really good one. And yoga, you can start off small and tell yourself it's stretching, because a lot of times you use the word yoga and people freak out and they're like, I can't do yoga. I can't get into a pretzel and, whatever it is you imagine that to be. Yoga is basically stretching and breathing. It's a form of meditation. Meditation is breathing and clearing your mind and focusing on being present in the moment. Dancing. Dancing is one of my favorites because that just fills my heart with joy. Strength training. I did not even know I liked strength training, but I've been doing it since April and it is fabulous. Like, I just feel fabulous every time that I do it. So movement of any kind connects your body and your mind, and it relieves stress and you just, you get the, dopamine little injection because it's just a feel good. It just makes you feel good. Even just 10 minutes of movement, whether it be dancing, walking, strength training. Maybe you don't have time for a 30-minute or a 45-minute or an hour workout, but you have time for 10 minutes. It can change your brain chemistry. It centers us. It helps us to become present. So what kind of movement makes you smile? What makes your heart happy? What do you do movement-wise that you just enjoy doing so much that you could do it for an hour and then go, wow, that went by really fast? So think about that while I thank our sponsor, Savage Fit for Life. The owner is Mary T.D. Galvin. She's my personal trainer, and we are just so proud that she has sponsored this episode of Beautiful Chaos. She helps women 35 and up sculpt stronger, healthier, hormone-supported bodies through fitness, nutrition, and functional health coaching. From perimenopause support to sustainable weight loss, Savage Fit for Life is where strength meets science and women rediscover their power. Visit Savage Fit Life on Facebook or go to her website, linktree/MaryFit. And tree has a dot in between R and E. So it's linktr.ee/Mary, MERI, fit, FIT. Do either of those things to start your journey today. Savage Fit for Life. Strong, balanced, beautiful. So hopefully you've had time to think about what makes you happy. And if you couldn't think of anything during our little sponsor blurb, then let me kind of help you. Look back in your childhood or your high school years, wherever you were the most active, and think about what hobbies or things you enjoyed doing. Maybe it's tennis. Maybe tennis because you're 60 turns into pickleball. There's those things, just any type of activity. There's also just meditating. So let's talk about meditation and prayer, because meditation can sometimes scare people. They don't understand it. They don't know what it is, but it's basically just breathing and accepting whatever comes to mind. It's about imagining where you are, focusing on your breath, and releasing anything that's comes to you. It might come to you and you might think about it and then you let it go. And if you need help with meditation, there are lots of things on YouTube that have actual steps to help you through meditation. You can also use a form of meditation, which I call morning gratitude. You sit and you think about 3 things that you're grateful for, 3 things that you are specifically thankful for, and you write them down. So you're not only thinking and breathing. Breathing is always incorporated into all of these things, but you're coming from a heart that's filled with gratitude. So really think about things you're thankful for. And if you struggle to be in gratitude because life is hard, it might be, I'm thankful I woke up today, right? I'm thankful I have teeth to brush. It could be simple things like that. I'm grateful. I don't know why I'm having a hard time with that word. I'm grateful to have a spouse who loves me and puts up with the good and the bad through sickness and in health, right? So that's another really good way to be meditative, the morning gratitude. To top that off, when you're in meditation, whatever way you choose, whether it's praying, because praying is the best form of meditation. If you are totally in it, if your eyes are closed, you are with God and you are just visualizing His presence, and you're being present and you're breathing and you're asking Him to specifically fill you with love. That's the way I meditate in the morning. And I tell you, I feel it I imagine this ball of light going through me that's from God that just starts from my head and works its way all the way down to my toes. And I get up from that and I feel full of love. Then one of the next things you can do is speak with intention. Put out in the world what you want to happen for the day. Today, I will have peace, purpose, and energy. Today, even though I have the flu, I will get through an episode because I have to. I'm on a time crunch. Another good one is at night. Night reflection is fabulous. It gives you a moment to kind of release all the things that are in your brain before you go to sleep. Because if you think about it, I don't know about you guys, but whatever goes on in my day or whatever didn't get done off of my list rolls around in my head, and I'm laying there at night going, I can't sleep because, I got to do this and I got to do that. And oh, this happened. And, I probably said the wrong thing, or was that the right thing to do? Like whatever. So at night, just release the entire day. Before you go to bed, like an hour before you go to bed, just give yourself some time to reflect on your day. This can also be, if you watched our episode on Above or Below the Line that Stacy and I did, I think it's episode 3. We talk about how you can look back at your day and go, wow, I was really below the line when I said this to my husband. And you can reflect on that and think, well, this is what I should have said. Or you can think to yourself, maybe I need to apologize for that and present that in a different light. And then you also need to give yourself grace because we're all human. We're not perfect. We don't say the right things. We don't ever do the right thing. Well, we do the right things, but there's a lot of times that we think we don't. And we have to give ourselves grace because, especially parents, when you have young kids, if you are being the best parent you can be, if you are truly caring about their education, their well-being, and you're looking after them and, keeping them safe and alive in a day, you've done your job. Pat yourself on the back and go, yes. Give yourself grace for flipping out in the car because everybody was yelling and screaming. So take all those moments and as a night reflection, go over them in your mind. If you need to journal, it's a great thing too, is to journal so that you can release and let go and accept. And then it's like a reset button is set and you can actually go to bed and actually get a decent night's sleep. So I really like to try to help people when they talk about self-care and they're like, they don't have time for self-care. When do they have time for anything? And I can totally relate. I remember when the kids were little, I would actually have a book in the bathroom because that was the only time I could read. And I had a lock on that door and they would still come and knock on the door. But I would say, I'll just be a few minutes. And most of the time they'd leave me alone, but it was only enough to read a couple pages and I'd have to go back out and be the mom. But another great thing to do, and something I always did, was read to my kids at night. We would read a book, we would read a verse out of the Bible, and then I would send them to bed. Their bedtime was normally an hour before my bedtime. And then my husband and I would have a little alone time, and then I would go take a bath, soak in a tub with lighted candle, like no music, no nothing, just being present, feeling the water, smelling the scent of the candle if it's scented, like just releasing and having a little me time. And maybe your me time is to just read a book before you go to bed. Spend some quality time with your significant other and then take time to read a book or just have time to yourself with no screen time, no TV time, just you and your mind. It's kind of scary, but if I can do it, you can do it. So also I want to say, working adults, you can also do some self-care while you're at work. The best thing you can do if you're working diligently throughout the day and you have multi things going on, when you finish one project and you need to move to the next, take a 5-minute mini vacation. Do some boxed breathing. That's when you take a deep breath in for a count of 4, you hold for a count of 4, you release for a count of 4, hold for a count of 4, breathe in for a count of 4, hold for a count of 4, release for a count of 4. You do that 4 times, and that takes about 5 minutes. And that's with no outside noise. Again, just being with your quiet mind and your breathing. A quiet mind is where you can unclutter and notice that you have emotions that you need to process. And so maybe you need to process those emotions now, which only takes 90 seconds. And I will go through with you in another episode how to process emotions in a healthy way. Sunlight is another great way to provide yourself self-care. I don't know if you guys are this way. It might just be me. But when it's cloud covered or it's going to rain, my mood just changes. My energy level changes. And I really noticed it when we were coming back from St. George one trip. And we went through this back way and we came through these mountains and it started snowing. So we went from sunshine to snow. And then on the other side, the sun was shining. And it was like happy, snow and overcast, heavy, sad. Like my whole demeanor changed. And then we hit that sun and all of a sudden I was back to my feeling light, feeling happy. Like it's just crazy. But it has been scientifically proven that 5 minutes in the sun, just it shining on your closed eyelids, is enough to trigger serotonin and lift your mood. So it makes you happy. So I already did that this morning because I'm like, I got to get through this and I got to feel good to do this. And so I went out in the sun and stood for 5 minutes because the sun is shining and it made a huge difference. The other thing is just being outside in the fresh air, even if it's cold, even if it's just for 5 minutes. Step outside, feel the fresh air, notice nature, reconnect. The other thing I've started doing is I'll look out the window and just watch the trees blowing in the wind. How often do you watch the leaves on the trees move? Or are you caught up with your face in your phone? How often do you just watch your children at play with no phone in your hand? Maybe you're not even engaged in play with them, but you're just watching them. That is very entertaining. It really, really is. And maybe that's because I'm a big kid. Maybe that's not everyone. So the overall conclusion of this is, you have to take care of yourself some way that you can do consistently. It should be every day. It only takes 5 to 10 minutes. And then you won't need those full days where you need to Netflix and have a blanket and read a book or read a book under your blanket, which those days are okay. There's occasionally I have to spend an entire day and do nothing because that's my way of recharging. So we all have our ways of recharging. Give yourself grace. Don't guilt yourself. If that's what you need, then that's what you need. You can have your husband or your significant other take care of the kids, do the dinners, whatever needs to be done. Take care of yourself. You're not being selfish. You're refilling the coffer refilling your cup so that your cup can overflow. So that's very important. We don't have to always be productive, right? Sometimes we can just read a book under a blanket and it's okay. And again, the biggest thing is to give yourself permission to rest, because it's the same with working out. If you're doing strength training, you're tearing up your muscles one day and then the next day you rest. Or, maybe your schedule's a little different, but at some point you have to rest and recover. So think of that as you refilling your cup, that you are resting to recover and give yourself permission to rest or play without having to earn it. I don't have to do XYZ so I can have 5 minutes to myself. You just don't. Sometimes if you give yourself 5 or 10 minutes, say before you go pick up the kids, you actually have the ability to be more available, more fun, more at peace, and your cup was filled. So, hope this helped in some way. And you will be seeing Stacy. I know I miss Stacy being on and the banter that we have. So we do have one more episode where I interview Mary, and then we have 3 episodes where Stacy and I will be back on together. So I'm super excited. I hope you guys will all look forward to that. And please share this. If you hear anything on any of our episodes that you think, wow, I have a friend that, might need to hear this, then please share. So I need to say this. The views expressed on Beautiful Chaos are presented for educational, informational, and entertainment purposes and are not intended as medical, nutritional, or psychological advice. Viewers are strongly encouraged to consult with a qualified healthcare professional before making any decisions based on the content presented. With that being said, thank you for joining us for Beautiful Chaos. I really appreciate those of you who are consistently downloading our episodes. I want to give a shout out to all of you. Thank you for helping us feel like this is something we're doing that's worthwhile. Stay empowered.